All right, ready to dive deep into some really interesting stuff about Shakti Pumps. They're an Indian company making some serious waves, pun intended, with their solar and electric water pumps.
I see what you did there, yeah. And honestly, the documents you sent over, the investor presentation, the financial results, even the auditor reports, it all paints a pretty impressive
Mm.
picture, especially when you consider they've got 15 patents. Innovation seems to be like built into their
Yeah,
DNA.
15 patents, huh? That's pretty impressive, but you know as well as I do that patents don't always mean success. So let's break it down. What's the story with their financials?
Well, to put it simply, their revenue growth in Q2 of fiscal year 25 was a whopping 315.4% year over year, which translates to a total revenue of Rs. 12,022 million for the half year.
Wait,
So
hold on. 315% growth. That's not just growth. That's like a tidal wave. What's
yeah,
driving that kind of performance?
I think a big factor is the global push for renewable energy. Shakti Pumps, they seem to have positioned themselves perfectly to ride that wave, with their solar pumps. And they're seeing increased demand both domestically and internationally. And if you look at their order book, it's sitting at a pretty healthy Rs, 1,800 crores. So
Yeah.
that kind of hints at a pretty stable future for them.
Yeah, that's really smart, tapping into a need that's only going to get bigger.
And speaking of smart moves, let's talk about this PM COESM scheme. Now, for anyone who's not familiar, it's an Indian government program, promotes solar-powered irrigation pumps. Think of it as a win-win. Farmers save money, they reduce their reliance on the grid, and it gives a boost to the whole renewable energy sector.
Exactly. Yeah. And Shakti Pumps is a major player in this scheme. They hold about 25% of the market share, which is huge. And this scheme has been a big part of their recent success. And, the government's commitment to it, with all the funding they're putting in, that just strengthens their position even more. It's great to see a program that has such a positive impact, on so many levels. But here's what I find really interesting. They're not putting all their eggs in one basket, right?
Mm,
Shakti Pumps has this really diverse business model that goes way beyond just government projects.
absolutely. We're talking about a company with a global footprint, exporting to, get this, over 100 countries, serving industrial clients, collaborating with OEMs, even catering to retail customers. They've strategically positioned themselves with offices in the USA, UAE, and Bangladesh.
Okay, so global reach, check. Diversification, check. But with all this going on, how do they handle the whole manufacturing side of things? And what about all those R&D efforts, the ones that led to all those patents?
Well, they have three integrated manufacturing facilities in India. They're equipped to meet the rising demand and everything. What I find really interesting here is their what they call backward integration strategy.
Okay, hold on. For those of us who aren't, business whizzes, can
Yeah.
you break that down a little bit? What does backward integration mean, and why is it so important for Shakti Pumps?
Sure, sure. Imagine you're baking a cake. Instead of buying a pre-made mix, you decide to, make everything from scratch. You source the flour, the sugar, the eggs, all the raw materials yourself. That's basically what backward integration is. Shakti Pumps produces a lot of key components in-house, and that gives them way better control over the production process, the quality, and of course the costs.
Makes sense. It's like having complete control over your recipe for success, right? And speaking of recipes, their R&D department, they seem to be cooking up some incredible innovations, 15 patents with more in the pipeline. They're clearly not resting on their laurels.
Not at all, no. We're talking innovations like a unidirectional solar water pump that can feed excess power back to the grid, which is amazing. And they've got a high starting torque motor designed for maximum energy efficiency. This isn't just about making pumps. It's about finding real sustainable solutions to real-world problems.
Now, that's what I call, walking the walk. But it seems like their commitment to sustainability, it goes beyond just the environmental stuff. They're also really focused on ESG, environmental, social, and governance principles.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh.
They're undertaking all sorts of initiatives like, the green energy solutions that we've been talking about, but also community development programs and all of that. That strong ESG focus, it's becoming super important for investors these days. And it definitely contributes to their long-term sustainability.
It's really refreshing to see a company thinking about the bigger picture like that. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've still got a lot more to uncover about Shakti Pumps. Next, we're going to take a closer look at their involvement with this PMQS scheme and how they're making a difference, one solar pump at a time.
So, ready to dig a little deeper into this PMQSMM scheme and how Shakti Pumps is right in the thick of it.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm particularly curious about how this scheme actually works in practice. It sounds kind of like a complex dance between the government, the farmers, and companies like Shakti Pumps.
You're right, it does involve a lot of moving parts. The scheme it's smartly divided into three components. Component A, that focuses on adding solar power capacity, through these small plants. Component B, and this is where Shakti Pumps really shines, that's all about installing standalone solar-powered agricultural pumps. And then finally, you have component C, which aims to solarize existing grid-connected agricultural pumps.
Okay, so they're hitting two out of the three components then. That's impressive. But before we get too far into their specific involvement, can you walk me through how this scheme actually benefits the farmers? I mean, why would a farmer choose a solar pump over, say, a traditional electric or diesel one?
That's a great question. Imagine you're a farmer, right? And you're in a rural area where the power supply is, well, let's just say it's not always reliable. A solar pump gives you energy independence. You're free from those constraints. Plus, you're saving on electricity costs in the long run, and you're shrinking your carbon footprint. And with these government subsidies, that initial investment becomes a lot more manageable.
It's like a win-win for both the farmer and the environment. But let's get back to the mechanics of the scheme. How does it all come together?
It starts with a farmer expressing interest and making a 10% contribution to the state nodal agency, the one responsible for renewable energy. And then the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, which is part of the central government, they chip in another 30%.
Okay, so we've got the farmer, we've got the central government involved. What about the state government?
The state government's a key player. They contribute anywhere from 30 to 60%,
Yep.
often through subsidized loans to the farmers. Then the state nodal agency, they open a tender, and a selected bidder, like Shakti Pumps, they get a work order, they apply the materials, they handle the installation, and then they submit all the necessary documentation for payment.
So it's a real collaboration. But how does all this translate into actual numbers for Shakti Pumps? What's their track record been like with this Q2 scheme?
So under Component B, a total of, let me see, 1,342,327 standalone solar pumps have been allocated. And as of September 2024, 499,319 of those have been installed. And Shakti Pumps, they've installed a remarkable 114,904 of those pumps.
Wow, that's a significant chunk. They're really leading the charge in getting these solar pumps to the farmers. What about component C? The solarizing of the existing grid-connected
Well,
pumps.
that's a huge market. That's projected to reach ours. 1,470 billion as the scheme expands. And that presents a massive opportunity for Shakti Pumps, to really solidify their dominance in this whole sector.
Right. Those are some mind-boggling numbers. It's clear that the they're really serious about this whole promoting of solar pumps. Now let's kind of shift gears a little bit and zoom out to their international operations. Exporting to over 100 countries, that's incredible. What's driving that kind of global success?
Well, it's a few things. Their expertise in solar pumps aligns perfectly with this whole worldwide push for renewable energy.
Hmm.
They've secured contracts worth like millions of dollars with various governments. They've got one with Uganda for supplying solar-powered water pumping systems, for example. And their membership in the International Solar Alliance, which is, this organization of over 100 countries that promotes solar energy. That opens doors to this massive aggregated demand of over 270,000 solar pumps across like 22 countries.
Wow, they're really making a splash on the global stage. But let's not forget, their reach goes beyond just government projects and international markets. What about their other business segments?
You're right. You're right. Shakti Pumps, they have this diversified portfolio. They cater to industrial clients, OEMs, even retail customers. Their pumps and motors are used in all sorts of industrial applications, firefighting, sewage treatment, heating and cooling systems, you name it.
Wow, so they're literally pumping life into so many different sectors, and I understand they also sell to other solar OEM players, right? That seems like a pretty strategic move.
Yeah, companies like L&T, Mahindra, Ariel, Adani, Tata Power, they're all among their OEM customers.
Hmm.
But they're actually strategically shifting their focus away from that business a little bit. They're putting more effort into their own sales, to really capture a bigger chunk of the market.
It's like they're saying, why be a supporting actor when you can be the star of the show? Now tell me more about the retail business. What kind of everyday needs are they addressing there?
Think of anything from, a small home garden to a large housing complex. Their pumps cater to domestic needs, sewage purposes like draining floodwater, for example. They're even used in hotels, corporate buildings, malls, commercial premises, all sorts of places.
So they've got it all covered from small scale to large scale. But wait, there's one more piece of the puzzle that I'm really intrigued by. Their venture into the electric vehicle segment. This seems like a whole new ball game for them.
It is, and it really shows their commitment to innovation and diversification. They established this wholly owned subsidiary called Shakti EV Mobility back in December 2021. The board's approved investments totaling Rs 114.3 crores over 5 years, which is a significant amount. And they're already manufacturing and selling a range of EV components, motors, charging stations, battery management systems, electric control panels, the whole works.
So they're not just dipping their toes in, they're diving headfirst into the EV pool. And and they even secured a patent for a stack assembly for permanent magnet rotor. Is that right? Can you explain what that is and why it's so significant?
Yeah, think of it as the heart of an electric motor. This innovation, it promises to really improve the performance and efficiency of electric vehicles, which is, a game changer in this rapidly evolving industry.
It's fascinating how they're leveraging their expertise in motors and pumps to make waves in this whole EV space. But let's step back for a moment and look at the overall pump industry in India. What's the market size like, and where does Shakti Pumps fit into all of that?
So the overall pumps market in India, that's projected to reach a massive Rs, 10,071 billion by 2028. Now within that, the submersible pumps segment, which is Shakti Pump Specialty, that's expected to reach Rs, 3,021 billion. And the solar pumps market, where they're already a leader, that's estimated to reach Rs, 806 billion.
Wow, those are massive numbers, and they're perfectly positioned to capitalize on all that growth. But with the world increasingly focused on renewable energy, what's the specific outlook for the solar pumps market?
The solar pumps market it's booming, to put it simply. It's experiencing this surge in demand fueled by government initiatives like the PM-KWSM scheme and just this overall global shift towards sustainable solutions. And with Shakti Pumps holding about 25% of the market share in the PM-KWS scheme, they're riding that wave for sure.
It seems like they've got a winning formula: strong financials, a diversified business model, a commitment to innovation, a sharp focus on these emerging markets like electric vehicles. But let's not forget about the people behind this success story. I mean, a company is only as good as its leadership, right?
Oh, absolutely. The management team plays a crucial role in shaping a company's direction and driving its growth. And Shakti Pumps, they're lucky to have a really experienced and diverse leadership team.
So it's not just about pumps and motors, it's about the visionaries, the people steering the ship. Let's dive into that in the next segment and explore the people behind Shakti Pump's incredible success story. Okay, so we've talked about the numbers, the impressive tech, their global reach, but now let's talk about the people. Who are the people behind Shakti Pumps, Who's steering the ship towards all this success?
Well, at the very top, you've got Mr. Dinesh Patidar. He's the chairman, a real visionary, over 3 decades of experience in the industry. He's been instrumental in, embracing all the latest technologies and making sure Shakti Pump stays ahead of the curve.
Yeah, that's the kind of leadership that can make all the difference. What about the rest of the leadership team? What kind of expertise are they bringing to the table?
They've got a really strong team. It's a good mix of, seasoned experience and fresh perspectives. You've got Mr. Ramesh Patidar. He's the managing director. He's spearheading their international business development, which is, a key area for growth. And then on the financial side, there's Mr. Dinesh Patel, the chief financial officer. He brings over 13 years of experience from big names like Mahindra and Mahindra.
Having a steady hand on the financial wheel, that's always reassuring. What about the innovation side of things?
Well, that's where Dr. Chinmay Jain comes in. He's their chief technical officer, holds a PhD from IIT Delhi.
Yeah.
And he's got numerous patents to his name. So talk about a powerhouse of technical expertise.
It's this blend of leadership, technical know-how, and that forward-thinking approach that's allowed Shakti Pumps to achieve these remarkable results. But it's not just about profits, is it? We talked earlier about their commitment to these ESG principles. Can you give us some concrete examples of what they're doing in that area?
Absolutely. They're going beyond just talk. They're implementing a variety of programs. For example, they've installed solar pumps and systems in multiple villages across India, providing access to clean energy and boosting agricultural productivity.
So they're really making a tangible difference in those communities. What other kinds of initiatives are they involved in?
They've adopted schools, organized free medical facilities and health camps,
Mm.
even contributed to the construction of a girls' hostel building in Madhya Pradesh.
It's really inspiring to see a company taking such a holistic approach to sustainability,
Hmm,
addressing these social and governance issues alongside the environmental ones. It really shows a genuine commitment to making a positive impact.
couldn't agree more. They've also really prioritized sound corporate governance practices, making sure there's transparency and accountability in all their operations.
Well, it seems like Shakti Pumps is ticking all the boxes. Strong financials, innovative products, a global outlook, dedication to sustainability. It's been a really insightful journey, exploring their story.
It really has. They've positioned themselves as a company to watch, not just in India, but on a global scale.
Mm.
As we wrap up this deep dive, though, I want to leave you with a thought-provoking question. How might Shakti Pump's success with these solar water pumps, how might that influence other industries or sectors that are, looking to incorporate renewable energy solutions? Their story, it offers some valuable lessons, and I think it could inspire others to follow their lead.
That's a great question to ponder for sure. It's clear that Shakti Pumps isn't just riding the wave of renewable energy. They're actively shaping it. And their example, I think, could be a beacon for other companies out there, paving the way for a more sustainable future for everyone. And on that note, I want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Shakti Pumps. It's been a fascinating exploration of their journey, their innovations, their vision for a brighter future.
The pleasure was all mine.
And a huge thank you to you, our listener, for sending over such intriguing source material. We're always excited to embark on new deep dives, so please keep those requests coming. Until next time, stay curious.